Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. Some big news coming in on the 75th birthday of Prime Minister Modi. President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, hailed the India-Russia ties on Prime Minister Modi's birthday. Putin says India-Russia relations are exclusively trusting and friendly. The Russian president again wishes PM Modi a happy birthday and extends greetings to all Indians. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a tweet, thanked President Putin for his wishes on the birthday of Prime Minister Modi. He, in a message, also hailed the strategic partnership between the two countries and spoke about how he has been working towards a resolution of the Russia-Ukraine war. Not just a mention over here when over the conversation between President Putin and Prime Minister Modi. In fact, the conversation between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi also referred to the Russia-Ukraine war and India's role in ensuring peace and working towards peace. So a very important message there on Prime Minister's birthday. Wishes coming from various quarters, world leaders, but the first world leader to have wished Prime Minister Modi was on the eve of his birthday by Donald Trump. And now we're looking at birthday wish coming in from President Putin, hailing India-Russia relations, calling it exclusive, trusting and friendly. Listen in to what President Putin had to say.
Только что у меня состоялся разговор с премьер-министром Индии, господином Моди. Я позволил себе от вас, от всех поздравить нашего друга, премьер-министра Индии, с его 75-летием. И от него хочу передать самые наилучшие слова и пожелания всему российскому руководству. Хочу отметить, что на протяжении всей современной истории, новейшей истории, точнее, еще со времен Советского Союза, затем и во времена Новой России, отношения между Индией и Россией носят исключительно доверительный, дружеский характер и, безусловно, надпартийный. Эти отношения основаны на общенациональном консенсусе как в России, так и в Индии. Мы это видим. Кроме того, под руководством премьер-министра Моди Индия проводит абсолютно независимую, суверенную политику. И, что самое главное, добиваются очень хороших результатов в сфере экономики. Индия демонстрирует самые высокие темпы экономического роста среди крупных экономик мира. Поздравляю премьер-министра Индии с его юбилеем, пожелал ему и всему индийскому народу от нашего имени всего самого доброго и дальнейших успехов.
Well, wishing Prime Minister Modi a continued success. That was President Putin. Now moving to a different but a very historic meeting that is happening between President Trump and his counterpart in the United Kingdom. Now, Trump begins his historic second state visit to the United Kingdom. He's accompanied by First Lady Melania Trump. In 2019, Trump made his first state visit to the UK when Queen Elizabeth II hosted him. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump were received with royal pomp and splendor. Trump and King Charles were seen speaking during a carriage procession through the grounds of Windsor Castle while military bands played the US anthem while the carriages were en route. After reaching the Windsor Castle, US President Donald Trump inspected a guard of honor. Windsor Castle is the oldest and largest inhabited castle in the world and family home to British monarchs for almost 1,000 years. Earlier images of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were being displayed on a van, which was stopped by the British police as the van was approaching closer to Windsor Castle. Still images and videos of US President Donald Trump and Britain's Prince Andrew with Epstein too were projected onto the walls of Windsor Castle. So there was a lot of drama around President Trump's visit as well. Meanwhile, Stop Trump protesters took to the streets outside of Windsor Castle to protest US President's visit to the United Kingdom. Protesters were holding signs that read, "The tyrant who came to tea," and "Democracy dies while Trump lies." Donald Trump is in Britain for his second UK visit, but once again he's making headlines for breaking royal protocol, this time by walking ahead of King Charles at Windsor Castle. US presidents have a long history of royal blunders. Let's take a look at some of the most unforgettable moments in our report.
Donald Trump's second UK visit is making headlines again, this time for breaking royal protocol. At Windsor Castle, Trump walked ahead of King Charles III, a significant breach of protocol in the royal hierarchy, where the monarch always takes the lead. But he's not the first US president to stumble when it comes to royal traditions. In 2007, George W. Bush nearly aged Queen Elizabeth by 2 centuries in a speech slip-up.
You helped our nation celebrate its bicentennial in 1976.
Her icy glare became an instant classic, and Bush later laughed it off.
She gave me a look that only a mother could give a child.
Then came the Obamas. In 2009, Michelle Obama placed a hand on the Queen's back, breaking the no-touch rule. But instead of a scandal, the Queen returned the gesture, turning it into a rare, warm moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me and raise your glasses as I propose a toast. To Her Majesty, the Queen, to the vitality of the special...
2 years later, Barack Obama had his turn, continuing his toast even as the orchestra struck up, God Save the Queen. It was awkward, but unforgettable.
This realm, this England, to the Queen.
And of course, Trump himself did it before, walking ahead of Queen Elizabeth in 2019 during an inspection of the Guard of Honor. From mix-ups and missteps, when US presidents meet British royals, one thing is certain: protocol isn't always easy to follow, and the world never forgets. Vishalik Shaha, Bureau Report, India Today.
Fashion diplomacy is often as telling as politics. And on her arrival in London, US First Lady Melania Trump sent a clear message through a very British choice of outfit. Kshitija Gosavi with this report.
Dressing for diplomacy, Melania Trump touched down in London, making an unmistakable fashion statement. The US First Lady stepped off Air Force One in a floor-length belted Burberry trench coat. The choice was no accident. With London Fashion Week just days away, putting a British brand front and centre was a subtle nod of respect and a savvy move on the world stage. This isn't Melania's first Burberry moment in the UK. She wore the brand back in 2019 as well, cementing her reputation for sending messages through style. Later, Melania joined President Trump at Windsor Castle, where they met Prince William, Kate Middleton, King Charles and Queen Camilla. She wore a grey Dior skirt suit with a dark mauve wide-brimmed hat, combining elegance with diplomatic style. And this is just the opening act. Netizens are already buzzing, waiting to see what Melania wears next on her UK tour. Kshitija Gosavi, Bureau Report, India Today.
The U.S. administration has approved two $500 million shipments called the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, under which U.S. arms will be supplied to Ukraine. This arrangement has been done with the NATO allies, wherein funds have been used from NATO countries. Here's a report.
Ukraine to soon get its first U.S. weapons aid package. This comes after a brief pause on weapons supply by the U.S. Department of War, formerly called the Pentagon. This development is also crucial following the visit of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky along with European leaders to the White House. According to Reuters, the new weapons supply is made under a new financial agreement with the allies, using funds from NATO countries. At least two $500 million shipments called the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List have been approved. Until now, the Trump administration has only sold weapons to Ukraine or shipped donations which were authorized by former President Joe Biden. The decision to supply weapons by US also highlights Trump's growing frustration over Moscow's continued attacks on Kiev and failing to reach a consensus on ending the Russia-Ukraine conflict. However, no exact inventory of what has been approved for purchase by the Europeans for Ukraine has been revealed, but it includes air defense systems which Ukraine needs urgently. Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
As the Israeli Defense Forces begin intensive ground operations in Gaza, Palestinians are fleeing for their lives. The operations have crippled healthcare system as a UN body report finds Israel of committing genocide.
As U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio concludes two-day visit to Jerusalem, Israeli Defense Forces began its main ground offensive in Gaza, forcing displaced Palestinians living in tents to flee southward. The IDF dropped evacuation leaflets warning Gazans as tanks and troops began their ground operations. This has posed a difficult situation for most Gazans as they have no means to travel.
The struggle of displacement is difficult. As for money, I don't have any. I took a cart from my neighbor and we said we would pull it. It had a flat tire. I came back to try to get money for the price of the rubber, so I can leave tomorrow. My furniture is packed. My situation is difficult. I speak truthfully. My situation is difficult. It is difficult.
As Israeli army pound Gaza, the fear of death lurks.
It is an issue of fear. I fear for my little ones only. I do not fear the army or anyone. Death is death. But the little ones, they scream. We are used to the sound of shelling, to the sound of gunfire. We are used to it. It has become the norm, but the little ones, I can't bear seeing them like that.
The offensive has also made health service worsen in Gaza. Hospitals are overwhelmed as number of casualties from airstrikes and ground offensive continue to pour in.
They pulled me out from under the rubble with my mouth filled with sand. They spent 2 hours trying to rescue me and my injured husband. My daughter suffocated under the debris. The ruins of the house crushed my legs and the columns were on my chest. My husband and son are in critical condition and my daughter died.
According to a UN report, Israel continues to commit genocide against Gazans.
In our report, the Commission found that the Israeli authorities and Israeli security forces committed and are continuing to commit the following underlying acts of genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. 1, killing members of the group. 2, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. And 4, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group.
According to the IDF, 162nd and 98th Divisions are expanding their operations in Gaza City, and the 36th Division will join them in the coming days. The 99th and Gaza Divisions are conducting operations in the northern and southern Gaza Strip, respectively. The IDF estimates that there are approximately 3,000 Hamas militants in Gaza City. Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
That's all in this edition of India Today Global. But before I go, here is my take on statecraft. Today we discuss Myanmar and how it's become a battleground for rare earth minerals between India, US, China, how India is engaging rebels, and what does Pakistan have to offer. Take a look. Goodbye and take care. Rare earths, the hidden minerals that power our modern world. From electric vehicles and wind turbines to fighter jets, smartphones, and the advanced technologies that define global power, these resources have become the currency of influence in the 21st century. For India, the race is driven by necessity and strategy, a push to secure control over rare earth minerals and break free from China's near total dominance, ensuring the country's technological and industrial independence. For Pakistan, the race is about survival and leverage, turning its mineral wealth into strategic partnerships with the United States and China, attracting foreign investment and charting a path out of crippling debt. Two neighbors, two rival visions, one high-stakes resource that could reshape their economic and geopolitical futures. One is buying, the other is selling, or rather being exploited. In this rare earth showdown, who will emerge as the dominant power in South Asia? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Rare earths are the hidden lifeblood of modern technology. They make our smartphones smarter, our electric vehicles faster, our fighter jets stealthier, and our energy grids greener. From magnets to missiles, from wind turbines to weapon systems, these minerals underpin the world's most advanced industries. And yet, access to them is anything but easy. China today commands near absolute dominance over rare earth mining and processing. By some estimates, Beijing controls more than 80% of the global refining capacity. This monopoly has given China immense leverage, the ability to turn the tap on and off, to reward allies and punish adversaries. So when China tightens exports, the world scrambles. And in this scramble, India and Pakistan have chosen very different paths. Let's begin with India. According to Reuters, New Delhi is working to obtain rare earth samples from Myanmar, not from the junta, not through traditional state-to-state channels, but with the help of the Kachin Independence Army, one of the most powerful insurgent troops in the country. This is not just business, this is geopolitics. India, the world's largest democracy, is turning to a non-state armed group in Myanmar to access a resource dominated by China, according to some reports. It is, by all accounts, a rare and risky move. Beijing has sharply restricted exports of processed rare earths to major economies this year, part of its escalating trade war with the United States of America. India has felt the pinch. Across the border, Islamabad has chosen a very different path, one that runs through American investment and global capital. Pakistan's Frontier Works organization, the country's largest miner of critical minerals, signed a $500 million deal with US Strategic Metals, a Missouri-based company. The agreement? To collaborate on a polymetallic refinery in Pakistan. For Pakistan, this is more than minerals. It's about securing foreign investment, strengthening ties with the US, and finding a way out of a grinding financial crisis. Pakistan's path is also treacherous. Balochistan remains unstable. Separatist attacks on pipelines, convoys, and foreign projects are frequent. Political volatility in Islamabad adds another layer of uncertainty. and critics question whether foreign deals will actually benefit ordinary Pakistanis, particularly Baloch people, or merely enrich the elite. It should also be noted that Washington's strategic interest in Pakistan is tied not just to minerals, but to countering China and balancing India. That bigger game, of course, involves the two giants, China and the United States of America. China will not quietly watch India diversify through Myanmar. Beijing has long relied on the KIA for rare earth supplies. Any shift toward India would threaten its dominance. Already, China has leaned on the KIA to step back from confrontations with the junta. If Delhi deepens its footprint, Beijing may respond with carrots or with sticks. Rare earth minerals are no longer a hidden treasure. They are the front line of a new strategic rivalry. And as this race unfolds, one question will echo louder than the roar of any parade or the signing of any memorandum. Who will lead? Because in this race for rare earths, there won't be a silver medal, only dominance or dependence. Thank you for watching Statecraft.